Good morning, my name is Andreas Weigend, and I want to share with you some of the data I created this morning, whether I want it or not, or whether I knew it or not. So for example, first thing I did in the morning when I woke up, I looked up my emails. Then I made myself a cup of coffee, espresso. I have a smart meter at home, and that smart meter knows whether it's a single or a double espresso, because it learns from data over time what corresponds to one shot and what corresponds to two spots. Then I walk around the house. GPS is sensitive enough to know which side of the house. Even when I walk up the stairs, the sound that my microphone records plus the barometric pressure difference is good enough for Google Health to know what actually I'm doing in the house. Finally, I get my car. I use the garage door opener, another signal which is unique for my house, to know what I'm doing. And then, of course, cameras catch me on the street. They just look at my number plate, because I think I didn't really speed through any traffic light. But those information from number plates you can stitch together and get to people's geolocation. Then park here at Strata, I check into the hotel, another place, of course, where my mobile gets picked up. So just my location history from this morning is a pretty rich set, which tells us a lot about what I'm doing and where I am. So I spent the last 3 years writing this book, which finally came out, called Data for the People. And my goal is that the data that we create, whether we want or not, whether we know it or not, that those data will actually be used for us. In the book, I'm outlining 6 rights which we should have as people, as citizens, as customers, that make it more likely that the data we create is actually used for us. So what can companies do to provide us with services that will differentiate them from others based on the data we have? Both Airbnb and Google are clearly social data revolution companies. I sometimes also call them data refineries. Why? Well, you know oil refineries. Oil gets found, gets pumped up, but then to create value out of the oil, you need to refine it. And data refineries are the same thing. Your raw data has almost no value. Actually, let me ask you, what is the value of the data? The value of data is the impact that data has on a decision. Who uses Google Maps? Everybody uses Google Maps. I, of course, use Google Maps. And there's the next point I want to bring out. Besides the point that the value of data is the decisions the company helps the users make, the second point is when you have a startup or a big company like that, you have to make sure that the user understands why the data they give you helps them, not you as a company. And it's naive, you often hear that when people say, oh, we don't want companies to take our data. Well, I invite you to order pizza at Domino's, but tell the delivery man, I'm not telling you where I live. How is that pizza going to arrive at your place? Or if you were not going to share your most intimate thoughts with Google, how could Google answer you any of the questions? All right, so the first point was that the value of data is the decisions helps. And the second point is, it really is that the user has to understand why giving you data helps them. As a starting point, ladies and gentlemen, the battle of privacy versus convenience is over. Privacy has lost. There is no place you can hide in this world. So that is no longer a battle which is open. So my perspective is here, embrace that you are sharing data, whatever you do, my initial example was an example for that, and think what value you can ask the refineries to provide in exchange for this data. Don't bark up the wrong tree and saying, oh, I wish I didn't share those data with them. So we know what it means to own an apple. That means I can eat the apple. And our notion of ownership has really evolved over the last 2,000 years around physical objects. So if I give you my apple, now you have the apple and I don't have the apple anymore. That's the property of physical items. That's very different for data. If I share my data with you, I still have a copy of my data. And now if you share your data with me, then likely we actually both have more than we had before. So this 1 + 1 is more than. And that's how the refineries work. That from getting all the data from people, that property, that data is not like physical objects. It's not I'm giving up my data, but I'm sharing my data and I create new value of it. That is what made Silicon Valley Silicon Valley. So my last scary example here is from my teaching in China. And Alibaba, or more specifically Ant Financial, they had a score for every citizen. So I typically ask at the beginning of class, or when I talk in China, for everyone to get up, and then people sit down whose scores are below 600, 650, 680, and then typically there's one person standing at the end. So I go up to them and really want to understand how did they get such an amazing score. And typically it's a mix of different things, like your FICO score here. What decisions are based on the score in China, the social credit score? Much more than your credit. For instance, whether your child can go into a top school, or even whether you can buy tickets for the high-speed train, for the Harmony train. If your score is too low, no way. Let alone trying to get a job, no way if it's low. So they computed like this. You jaywalk, -1 point. You shoplift, -5 points. You sell counterfeit goods on Alibaba, +100 points. Because clearly you know how to work the system. So that score is real. That score determines the fate of people, the children of parents. So I want to leave you with those examples of the amazing amount of data that we have in this world and how we want to combine them to create a society we want to live in. I don't know whether to say social good, don't quite know what that means, but I think we have a feeling that it can be used against the people and we can use it for the people.
I absolutely agree. I mean, this is something that Piraten in Germany, right?
Yeah.
This is a political party in Germany that came to prominence mainly 5-6 years ago, potentially. I can't remember exactly. And one of the sort of cleavages that the Piraten, if I remember correctly, leveraged was the issue of privacy. And I remember thinking, when will this become an issue in American politics? Will privacy be an issue that political parties, maybe there's a cleavage based on this issue, will one party claim it? Because I studied politics and the way that parties develop is often, or continue to develop, maybe even stay relevant, is that they bring on and claim new political issues. It's a lot easier in Germany where you have multiple parties, right? But environmentalism became a political issue in the Green Party, which is now, interesting history there, but the Green Party became mainstream, environmental issues became mainstream. We can think about privacy potentially in similar ways, right? It's hard to imagine it right now, but can we imagine a world in politics in the US where privacy is this issue for us? How many leaks is it going to take, right? How many emails have we had from Yahoo in the past 3 years? I've lost count.
But I think assume that your data is being breached.
Right.
And one of the questions which people sent in beforehand was actually a good one, which is, what can you do?
Yeah.
And I thought about this one, and I think there are 3 classes of answers. One is laws. And we absolutely need laws. And we have many laws, and there are enforcement mechanisms. And we just have to make sure that if we believe something has been stolen in terms of data, that is just the same way as if somebody steals a car or whatever. Second one is social norms, and those are evolving fast. I gave a talk at Snapchat just the day before the IPO event speech. And that was interesting to see how social norms, not technology, is what regulates people's behavior there. And then the last one, the most important one I think actually, is that of incentive planning. So if I, renting a room at Airbnb, have incentives aligned with the person who is renting it to me, then most of the problems will go away, as opposed to if we have incentive disalignment, which of course the more data it is, will blow up even more.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly well said. Just to reiterate, data is powerful. Data are powerful. Choose your weapon. Therefore, being a data scientist is an incredibly powerful position. I think the question is how you choose to use it, right? As I mentioned in my talk, like, I don't just want to be someone churning numbers, putting out analyses, right? I want to be the kind of data scientist who is precisely confronting these questions, right? Understanding what's at stake.
I actually was going to say the same thing, that it is more, I'm a people person. So for me, it's much more important who I work with, who I see every day, than what the company is. I feel super fortunate to work with so many companies since, whether it's airlines, there was the Singapore Airlines last month, Lufthansa with Swiss, hotels with Hyatt, but also with retailers, major retailers, and so on. So it is actually a privilege to be able to get stories from many companies. And for me, that's why I wrote the book, to synthesize those and use them as anecdotes to make my point, which I think is an important point to me and also to you and others, that we don't want it to be data against the people. We want it to be